the American Bulldog. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by no one. Please subscribe to get this channel closer to being monetized. As I mentioned in the last video, Bulldogs were created for a blood sport known as bull baiting. Not every person would use them for this purpose, however. If a dog is brave enough to attack a large animal, then it has a place with those who live off the land. Such fearlessness can be put to great use when defending the property against coyotes, feral dogs, and other animals. They would also engage in hunting boars and perform various other tasks around the farm. It's because of this profound usefulness that many dogs that resembled the original Bulldog would survive the restructuring of the breed. To the practical farmer who values function over form, they would see the old style of Bulldog as superior for their uses. In 1894, a race was held to see whose dog could walk 20 miles. Two Bulldogs participated in this race. One was named King Ori, who resembled the older variety of Bulldogs. The other was named Doc Leaf, and he resembled the modern English Bulldog. The dog who won the entire race was King Ori, and his owner boasted that his line consisted of the best Bulldogs in the entire world. As for Doc Leaf, he collapsed and died. I couldn't find any details regarding the day of the race. It could have been very hot and Doc might not have had any water. I suspect his owner ignored his exhaustion and pushed him too far. This was one example showing how the athletic variety could perform far better than the English Bulldog. I don't mean that any disrespect towards the English Bulldog. They have excellent temperaments and personalities. These athletic Bulldogs weren't known by any singular name in the southeastern United States. Some of them called them White English Bulldogs, others called them Southern Bulldogs. Most just called them Bulldogs, and that led to a lot of confusion. Imagine going to a Bulldog breeder expecting to get a small English Bulldog puppy and having that dog grow to be the size of a German Shepherd. Like many other dog breeds, they would nearly become extinct during both World Wars. The surviving dogs were in isolated rural pockets of the southeastern areas of the United States. There are two men who are credited with bringing these dogs back from extinction, John D. Johnson and Alan Scott. I found interviews with both Johnson and Scott. In Johnson's interview, he discusses his lifelong relationship with Bulldogs and the differences between the dogs he had as a boy versus the ones he had at the time of the interview. When he was 3 years old, his father took him to choose his first Bulldog puppy, and he chose a big, fat male puppy. His words. He spent his entire childhood playing with that dog and venturing around farmlands, swamps, and riverbeds. On numerous occasions, his dog even killed copperheads before they could strike Johnson. The dogs he bred later as an adult showed similar courage by saving the lives of Johnson and his family multiple times. One of his dogs saved him from a bull that got loose. Another saved his wife from a pack of feral dogs. That same dog even stopped a man who threatened the family with a gun. One day, a fire had spread to his house. Johnson got his family and almost all his dogs out. Two of his dogs ignored their fear to try and fight the fire. All animals naturally fear fire, but the efforts of Johnson's breeding program yielded dogs that defied their fears. This interview concluded with Johnson saying this: "They say that dog is man's best friend, but they are wrong. Man is dog's best friend. But a dog that will lay down his life to protect his master is a man's best friend, and a dog that will turn and run at a threat of danger is no friend at all." In Alan Scott's interview, he discussed his long career as a breeder and why he stopped selling puppies to the general public. When asked why, he pointed to a photo of his bulldog named Dixieman. To Scott, Dixieman was a once-in-a-lifetime dog. He could supposedly smell a crook, and if and only if Scott slapped the side of his truck twice, then Dixieman wouldn't let his soul lay a finger on it. He could also perfectly position himself in a stack without Scott having to lay a finger on him. For those of you who don't know, a stack is the position a dog takes when it's being judged in a conformation show. They need to be well trained to hold their head up and keep their feet at the correct angles. Scott said Dixieman could pose on his own correctly 90% of the time. Soon after Scott's first wife divorced him, Dixieman passed away. The loss took a toll on Scott, and he decided to downsize to having enough dogs just to play with. He was tired of people calling him at all hours of the night, disrupting his sleep schedule. As I said earlier, both these men are credited with reviving the American Bulldog. The breed also saw a surge in popularity due to the Homeward Bound movies, making the American Bulldog a household name. Oddly enough, the American Bulldog only just recently joined the Foundation Stock Service in 2019. The American Bulldog Association is apprehensive about joining the AKC and does not endorse the group who is pushing for their recognition. This is to protect the diversity and working integrity of the breed. There are 5 main varieties of the American Bulldog. The Johnson varieties are very large dogs. They are more brachycephalic in the face, and they can breathe very well. Individuals with flatter faces may have more trouble. The Scott variety tends to be much more suited for work, though the Johnson variety is also capable of working. The Scott American Bulldogs are a little smaller and they have more drive. They are often mistaken for pit bulls, but they have no relation. The third is known as the Old Southern White American Bulldog. This is the oldest variety of American Bulldog and is the foundation for every other variant. They also have 2 smaller types within this variety, which is more Bulldog-like and the other is more Mastiff-like. The Painter American Bulldog is smaller than the Scott and was bred for the purpose of dog fighting. I read in the interview with Johnson about how he gave a dog to a man named Joe Painter before he found out he was a notorious dog fighter. Johnson stopped providing him with dogs upon finding out. Early on, the Painter Bulldog suffered from severe inbreeding, but these complications have since been remedied. Though they are smaller, they are quite stocky and powerful. The final variety is produced when dogs of different lines are bred together. Their traits and temperaments can vary depending on the individual dog. The American Bulldog is pretty healthy, but there are some concerns. Dogs should be tested for hip and elbow dysplasia. Allergies are another concern and can range in their severity. Ichthyosis is a skin disorder that can cause flakiness, and dogs with this condition should be bathed and have oils rubbed on them to provide comfort. An uncommon yet fatal concern is neuroceroid lipofuscinoid. I can't pronounce it. Not many people are aware of this disorder. Signs don't show until the dog is around 2 years old. The dog begins losing control of their hindquarters, falling over constantly, and it eventually loses the ability to move at all. Death is inevitable and unpreventable for dogs with this disorder. An endotropion and ectotropion used to be a concern, but is no longer a common problem. The life expectancy for an American Bulldog is around 10 to 16 years. Working line dogs tend to be much healthier and can live longer lives. For the Johnson type, males are 23 to 27 inches at the withers and weigh between 80 to 125 pounds. Females are 22 to 26 inches at the withers and weigh between 60 and 105 pounds. For the Scott type, males are 23 to 27 inches at the withers and weigh between 75 to 115 pounds. Females are 21 to 25 inches at the withers and weigh between 60 and 85 pounds. The Painter variety has the same height range as the Johnson and the Scott, but weigh much lighter at 55 to 75 pounds. The Old Southern White American Bulldogs are 21 to 26 inches at the withers and weigh 60 to 97 pounds. An American Bulldog would do well in an apartment if they are sufficiently exercised and mentally stimulated, but they would probably do much better in a rural environment. American Bulldogs can do well with other dogs if properly introduced. There may be some same-sex aggression issues. American Bulldogs are excellent with children if they are raised properly. I've heard plenty of stories of them hunting boars and then immediately afterwards gently playing with the children in the family. American Bulldogs are pretty trainable, though they may be unwilling to listen at times. So would I personally bring an American Bulldog in my family? I think I probably would. The Bulldog breed I think I would most likely bring into my family would probably be the Renaissance Bulldog. I don't plan on making a video about them at this time, but because they're a pretty new breed, but they were developed from American Bulldogs, and they have a more athletic body type and even clearer breathing. One fun fact that is that the one of the foundation dogs was either a sister or maybe the cousin of the American Bulldog in the Homeward Bound movies. I think if I were to get an American Bulldog, it would probably be the Johnson variety. I like their size and presence. They seem to exert a calm, confident energy when they move. A Johnson Bulldog has lower exercise requirements than some of the other varieties, without being lazy or sluggish, so I think it would do great on my long walks. The next video will be about the Alapa Blue Blood Bulldog. Let me know if there are any dog-related topics you'd like me to discuss. I'll gladly fulfill every request for videos. Please subscribe and share with a friend. Do you have any experience with the American Bulldog? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day, and unless your dog somehow knows how to use a hose, keep him away from fires.